Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you're all doing well, enjoying your Sunday, which is the day I happen to be filming this, Super Bowl Sunday, I guess for those south of the border and many here in Canada as well. Doing this video today, speaking of Canada, for a fellow Canuck. Um, you may know him as the Vinyl Martini, but we know him as Jack. Jack over at his channel there is doing a contest just in recognition of his second year and shooting for 600 subs, which I don't think should be too much to ask for Jack. He's a very well liked guy. He's always commenting on others' videos and taking part in the vinyl community. And in spite of him being a Canuck fan, I won't hold out against him. He's a great guy out there in the West Coast. It's funny, Jack growing up on the West Coast, and I grew up on the East Coast. Speaking of which, let's do a cheers to Jack and everybody across the wherever you are. Cheers, everybody. So as I alluded to, he's doing this contest in recognition of his 2 years celebration and a push for 600 subs. I'm just going to read some of the criteria here because I want to make this a relatively short video. What he writes here is, thanks for the 2 great years in the vinyl community. Give a shout out to 2 deserving channels, which I've got 2. One I specifically chose, the other one I did randomly out of my subscriptions, people I've subscribed to. So two deserving channels, and feature all the albums you own of one of your favorite bands, and I'll make a donation to your favorite local charity. So I'm just doing this to support your channel, Jack, but by chance, if I do happen to win it, I would suggest maybe donating it to the local animal shelter or something like that. That's something my wife and I really value, is animal welfare. So a wildlife foundation even, or we'll touch base if it comes to that, but that's not my incentive to do this. I just really want to support your channel and recognize the support that you've shown me and many others. So speaking of being in Canada here, I decided to go with an artist that is Canadian, and I don't have their entire discography, but I do have a few, and I do really like them, and I'm sure Jack will be familiar with this band. And I'll do them in chronological order as I have them. There's a few that I don't have. But the artist is Street Heart. They are out of, I think the lead vocalist, Kenny Shields, rest in peace, passed away in 2017, was born in Saskatchewan, but I believe they were based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, here in Canada. And so their first one is Meanwhile, back in Paris. And I would suggest Street Heart is probably as well known locally for, or at least nationally, for their cover tunes as much as they were as their big tunes. They were known for doing covers of the Stones, Under My Thumb, and they did an old tune by Here Comes the Night by them as well. I'll show you that on the album that it pertains to, but that's their first one in their discography, is Meanwhile, Back in Paris. Next up, and that was 1978, by the way. Next up is Under Heaven, Over Hell. This one would have been 1979, and these first 2 feature Matt Fournette on drums, who I believe went on to play with Loverboy around this time. So many of the Canadian artists in the scene around that time would go from one band to another often, certainly during recording sessions, and whether or not they continue to tour with them, I can't say for sure. I'm certainly not an authority on that matter, but it was very common practice. When you don't have the depth of pool musicians to pull from like they do in the UK and the States, I would suggest it's going to happen. But I think this is the one where is it? Here Comes the Night. Yeah, it's on this one, the cover they did of that old Them tune. So that's their second one. I think that one was 79. I should have wrote this down because I don't have it off the top of my head. That's for darn sure. Probably says on the sleeve 79. Yes, it is. Thank you. Next up is Drugstore Dancer, and this would have been 1980. I'm sure of it. Yes, it is. And so this one, what would this best be known for? Tin Soldier, probably. That's the one and Drugstore Dancer, I think, was a minor hit as well, the title track. But on here comes Herb Ego on drums, and I don't know if his name was fitting or not, but good drummer nonetheless. I don't know him, but Herb Ego was his name. And then the final one that I have in my collection is just the probably their, I would suggest, their biggest seller here with What Kind of Love Is This? That was a big hit here in Canada. I don't know where it reached on the charts, but 1982 for this one. One More Time, it was also a very successful tune here. And I think that's about all I can say about this, because I don't have a pool of knowledge to pull through or pull from on these guys. I just enjoy their music, but can't say that they're in a top ranking of favorite artists or anything like that. Just a good Canadian act. And now my two shout outs. The one I'm doing intentionally is for Simon Pieface. Now, I haven't seen Simon in a little while, but he does comment once in a while. He's a great guy. And when I discovered Simon's channel and I read his description, his bio, it was almost like a bio I could have written for myself. Go over and check out Pieface's channel. Subscribe him. He's only got, I think, just over 300 subs, and he's been on YouTube for a long time. So he should have way more than that. And he's just a great guy. Again, this may seem like a broken record, but it's a common theme for these people that maybe in the violent community, it's very well supported, and he's no exception. He supports a lot of people. Just a great guy, and never met the guy. I just know from reading his description, some of the comments we've had back and forth corresponding, I know we'd get along. He's one of those guys. And when I read his description, like I say, it's something that I could have written about myself. A lot of parallels. There was a period in my life where I had moved away from a lot of the hard rock and metal I listened to a degree. I mean, certainly the stuff that I'd grown up with and was really, when I was really into the whole scene of denim and leather and metal and nothing else, I moved away from that for a long time. Never really got back into it, but now I can listen to it from a different place in my life where maybe it's not so, for lack of a better word, dysfunctional as it was back then. And I won't elaborate, but I can relate to Simon. The next one is one I picked randomly. He's a young guy here in the violent community, plays guitar. I've watched some of his videos, not a lot, because I just discovered him recently, maybe a month ago. Bryson Link is the channel, so go check him out. I think he only had a couple of hundred subs as well. But I was watching, I think he did the New Year's thread or one of his videos, and he had me when he was showing a lot of the old albums that I really dig as well. And then he showed the Sweet Desolation Boulevard and how much he loved that album. And it's like, okay, well, but that's all we need to have in common. But sound like a great young guy. I don't know much about him, but he's got a great channel there. He plays guitar and shreds. I mean, I watched some of his videos. He's really good. So go support these guys. And again, congratulations, Jack. I have no doubt you'll surpass 600 subs in a brief time. I think you're approaching that by now, if I remember right. But anyway, that's it for now. That's all I'm going to do here today. I may not do another video for a little while. Who knows? I'm doing the thread for Jacob, and I will continue to do that. There's so much going on here, as always. It's inherent with being, part of this thing is if you miss a few days, you miss a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I met the criteria, Jack, and I look forward to seeing more of your content. And everybody, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon here at Twanger's Turntable. Take care, everybody. Cheers.